Now more of the daily news on Sway in the Morning.
I will do what I never thought I was going to do. I am begging anyone that can hear us to save us from dying.
That is the voice of the mayor of Puerto Rico. Obviously, I mean, you can't escape this. What has happened in Puerto Rico is beyond devastating. Mike Muse is here with the political news. And citizens, I'm reaching out, 888-742-3345. If you are of Puerto Rican descent, you have relatives in Puerto Rico, you have friends in Puerto Rico, you can kind of paint a real picture as to what is going on. You're hearing from your family members and you know what's going on. Because as Mike Muse mentioned, you have one side saying one thing, Mike Muse, and then there's other people saying something else. What have you found as of late?
Yeah, so it's interesting that you mentioned Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah, because I saw something with him saying it's not that devastating down here. I don't see anybody dying.
Yes, and if you heard the audio from the acting Homeland Security Director say this is a great news story, after she made that comment from the White House, she then traveled down to Puerto Rico, Heather B., to which, after she arrived onto the scene, she said that the situation on the ground is not satisfactory. Then also, too, the third sergeant general who has been appointed by President Trump to oversee all the recovery efforts in Puerto Rico, he also put out a statement and said that there is not enough resources on the ground and that we are bringing more in.
888-742-3345. If you can give us an account, maybe you have family members down there, friends down there who's going in Puerto Rico and you've been in contact with them, let us know what's going on. We'd love to hear it from you. We got Devin on the line from New Jersey. Devin, what's going on? Good morning.
Hey, Devin.
Heather B, what's going on? Mike Muse, what's up?
What's up, Devin? Can you, are you of Puerto Rican descent? Do you have family members down there? Kind of let us know what's going on.
I'm actually not. My cousin is down there. He works for the Marines. So.
Oh wow! Salute to your cousin, Devin.
Responders to go down there.
Okay.
And he called my aunt to make sure everything, let them know everything's all right, and saying that it's tough, and you watch the mayor from San Juan giving all these speeches. She literally gave a speech in front of pallets and pallets of food. And it's just sitting there. And he said they're waiting for the Marines and armed forces and everybody to deliver most of the stuff. But say 20 minutes outside of San Juan, it's difficult. But at the same time, he said the curfews that government had placed, when they said curfews, it was for everybody. So they even shut down their own deliveries for their own people. So he said most of the work is really being done by the armed forces and first responders that don't live in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And that obviously, a lot of the people dropped everything to make sure their own families were okay, and that was cool. But at the same time, just like any other event, everybody else, you gotta step up your game, and everybody's got to help your neighbors.
Hey, Devin, was your cousin?
Your
I'm sorry, Devin. Was your cousin able to explain why a curfew was put in place even for the military? Because that kind of doesn't make sense to me. It seemed like the military should be able to move around as much.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't for the military. It was for truck drivers that are Puerto Rican. So if you're not a military person, the curfew, you had to go. So even if you were helping deliver gas, they shut you down.
Wow.
So to give more context to this, I want to be very clear.
Okay.
And so when you saw the devastation that happened in Texas with the hurricanes, you saw the devastation that happened in the hurricanes in Florida, curfews have always been established. So establishing a curfew is nothing new and is not unique to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Curfews are established when you have down power lines, when you have no electricity, the island is 95% dark and black, you want your residents to be safe and you don't want them in the house. The next point in terms of they need to do more for themselves, that's what Devin is alluding to, and essentially what President Trump has alluded to as well. As we saw aid happen in hurricane, when it was in Texas, it was in Florida, you saw individuals rushing down from different parts of the country to assist. You saw individuals who are outside of Houston, outside of Miami, coming in to assist, and by the next day, what we saw individuals climbing up the poles of the trees to get the electric lines repairing.
Yeah.
We're not seeing that being done. As President Trump always has alluded to, is that the island is surrounded by a body of water. He makes us known that Puerto Rico is an island, that there's ocean, so it makes it difficult. These things that we know. So with that being said, you still need to come up with solutions and strategies as quick as possible to deploy the resources so that the Puerto Ricans know, the island Puerto Rico, that you have their back and that you're not waiting 11 days to send resources. All the military always goes into these disaster areas, whether it's Texas or whether it's Florida. That's what the military does. And that's what the military is supposed to do. The question at hand is that the timing of how they got sent. Furthermore, what Devin is alluding to in the sense of they're not doing for themselves, that's not true. Puerto Ricans, there are thousands of volunteers on the ground cooking, making meals, distributing meals, doing the water. The problem is the distribution, what I alluded to before we began taking the calls. The island does not have any gas. And so in areas that have been affected, that may not have been affected, they have gas, but there's limited gas as available. So then if they go out to the outer skirts into the rural areas, there is no gas there. They won't be able to get back. So it's a gas issue that is causing the distribution of supplies that are happening. So it's not that the Puerto Ricans don't want to do for themselves. That is a very wrong misstatement. We have to be mindful of how we say that, and we have to be mindful of the reason why the supplies have not been distributed is because it's a gas situation. The diesel fuel is just not there, which is something that the Puerto Ricans are complaining, what have the federal government been doing? Why did it take so long from the Jones Act? So that is the issue at hand.
Let's move on. Thank you, Devin, for your call. Let's move on to Mike from Denver. Mike, good morning. How you doing?
What up, Mike?
Good morning, Heather. Good morning, y'all. How y'all doing, man?
Good morning. Are you of Puerto Rican descent? Do you have maybe family or friends out there? Can you chime in on this conversation as well, Mike?
I got family out there. My wife's family, which is, definitely my family.
Yes.
They're out there, and she just got in touch with them yesterday, and it's been 11 days, like you said. She was so happy to hear from them. People are dying out there, and people are starving, literally. There's no money that can buy stuff that's not in the store. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All the food is rotten. Everything's gone. You know what I mean? It's a war zone. You know what I mean? And for Geraldo to say, I haven't seen anybody die, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to walk up to you and fall flat in front of you.
Right.
Right. So also, too, and what Mike is alluding to, I want the listeners who are listening to us right now to just think about it, just for a quick second. Imagine the hottest day of the summer that you experienced this year, and imagine 11 days of that. But then imagine 11 days of that without any water. Then imagine 11 days of that without being able to get to the grocery store. Then imagine 11 days of that with your food running out, not knowing where your next meal is going to be able to come from, if your pantry is going to dry up. Then imagine you have no way of getting out. And then imagine you're hearing reports that the government is not coming to your aid and you're U.S. citizens when you've watched the U.S. come within 24 hours of a storm for rescue. That is the issue at hand. So yes, Geraldo has said it, but what we had just said, Heather B., from the general himself, who President Trump appointed, said there's not enough resources currently on the ground, and from the acting Homeland Security Director.
Thank you, Mike, for your call. You a citizen of Sway in the Morning. Really quickly, Orlando, let me just speak to Elaine from Chicago. Elaine, your mom, is she okay? Because I just see that your mom is in Puerto Rico.
Yes, my mom is in Puerto Rico. I haven't been able to personally talk to her.
Wow.
My aunt has been able to talk to her for less than 5 minutes because that's all she had, and it's devastating over there in the sense, like Mike Muse says, there's supplies there. There's just not they're not able logistically to disperse it because of the situation. The infrastructure is in some places not reachable, so it's not that we don't want to help ourselves. There's a lot of people on the ground, like he said, that are making meals, delivering, checking on elderly people, trying to accommodate them and make them comfortable. So it's a lot going on over there, and it's just very sad that us as U.S. citizens are not getting the help that we need in that sense. It's devastating. I did talk to my cousin yesterday that's over there, and she's in Calle. It's south of San Juan, and she had to go over there to get money because obviously there's no banks available, and she had to go get gas. She had to go to another town to get ice. She said by the time she got to her house, it's probably going to be water. So it's very devastating to know that there's just not there's just not helping, and
Man,
we're not helping each other.
Right. It's tough to hear, Elaine, and I can't even imagine, a woman in your position or anybody, any of the citizens that called this morning who have their mom and their dad and their grandparents and family members in a place like this and what's happening. I can't imagine it. People can say as much as you want, imagine this. We can't imagine it because we're not living there and we don't know what you guys are going through. But thank you for your call. We have Junior Santiago on the line, Natalie, Lori, Karina, so many of our citizens of Puerto Rican descent on the line. Please leave your voicemails and let us know what is going on in Puerto Rico if you can. Really quickly, Mike Muse, one last thing. Just
really quickly, also too, what happened over the weekend, as we all know, Trump is very active on Twitter over the weekend, and so a lot of news happens to break. His Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, was over in China for negotiations and talks with Korea in order to resolve this conflict that is happening. We finally are in contact with North Korea. We have 3 different open channels that are existing right now in communication. But Heather B., while Secretary Tillerson was over there trying to resolve this tension and this game of chicken that we have, Trump tweeted while he was over there that I told Rex Tillerson, our wonderful Secretary of State, that he's wasting his time trying to negotiate with Little Rocket Man. He goes on to say, save your energy, Rex. We'll do what has to be done. And so that is happening while he was over there trying to negotiate and to ease the tension that is happening. So that is the update for today.
Busy weekend for you, Mike Muse, with this political news. I guess you ain't swimming and chilling in the Hamptons no more for the weekends, right? You got a lot of stuff going.
Swimming in his tweets.
Yeah, swimming in tweets. Hey, citizens, you can reach out to Mike Muse. How can they reach you, Mike?
Heather B., they can reach me at I am Mike Muse, M-U-S as in Sam E, on Twitter and on Instagram.
Great update this morning with the political news, Mike Muse. We appreciate it. Citizens, from political news, we go to sports where politics are involved as well. Steve Cohen, we can't get away from this stuff.
No, we can't. Big day on the field in the NFL Sunday. We'll cover it for you.
Yeah, we will.